Welcome back to the Manufacturing Alliance podcast. It is Wednesday at 1:30 Central Standard Time. And so we're doing the same thing we always do, the Manufacturing Alliance podcast. Basically, it's your home for all things U.S. manufacturing. That is really, really important to us. So what do we do here? We talk to the people that are actually making the things that matter in our country, the things that we use every single day. Being made in America actually means something. It's not just some cool slogan. There's a reason behind it, right? And so what we want to do is continue to tell the stories of the people and the companies that are doing those things, that are coming together, that are creating the things that we generally take for granted for every day. And so we want to hear about the success, the failures, the struggles, the who, what, where, and why. All of those things are really, really important, and that's what we do here. If you want to know, data points and graphs and numbers and all that, wrong show. You should go look at the Plastics News or Gardner Business Media stuff. I really don't. I don't care. I want to talk to the people. The people is what matters. The people is what makes the difference, and so that's what this show is all about. But who are we? We are Alliance, the Manufacturing Alliance, and I get to run a company with my partners called Alliance Specialties and Laser Sales, where we are mold makers that don't build molds. We do all the things that mold makers, you, the mold maker, need help with, right? The polishing, the laser welding, laser engraving, hot runner repair, preventative mold maintenance, all of those things we can help you with, all under one roof with our team. We have locations in California, a couple here in Illinois, and then we also build and sell laser welding and laser engraving equipment here in the United States. That matters, and that's where we do that. We also have so many things. A production welding team. So if you are in fabrication and you're going, how do I get this thing welded? How do I take that next step? We have a team of people that can also help you with that as well. So that's us in a nutshell. If you like this show, if you've been here before, please like and subscribe, whether that is on YouTube, whether that is on LinkedIn, wherever you are watching this. Like, subscribe, get the notifications, all those things. Follow us so that you never miss an episode, you never miss an interview, you never miss something that's going on. We want to continue to serve you and serve others. And the best way for us to do that is to continue to give back. We believe that God's children are not for sale, but American-made laser welding systems are. With every machine that we sell, we are going to give a portion of that sale to the Tim Tebow Foundation to help end human trafficking. Everybody can agree that is a horrible thing and something needs to be done. And we're just trying to do our part. So when you are looking for a machine, when you're saying, like, who do I go with? Do I go with company A or company B, right? All the things about those companies matter. Their service matters, their quality matters, who they are as people matters. All of that matters. I'm not saying buy a machine from us just for this reason. But I think at least give us a thought, right? Come and talk to us. We'll come out and do a demo for you at your facility. We want to talk to you about how you can have the best level of success. And if that's something you're interested in, please send us an email, tony@alliancelasersales.com, and we will come out and see you. Where's the other thing I was going to talk about? We'll do this one. I am not a coffee drinker. I know that's like a sin in manufacturing and in the industrial space. Everybody drinks coffee. I'm not one of them. I just don't like it. But Shop Floor Coffee has amazing coffee, from what I've heard. It smells really good, and everybody I've seen drink it really, really, really likes it. I wish that I could be a better spokesperson for them and say that it's the most amazing thing, and it changed my life, and it changed my mind on coffee. That would just be untrue, and I'm not going to lie to you. So, but what I can tell you is everybody liked it. When we were at MD&M West, there was a line of people waiting for this coffee. And everybody left with smiles on their faces. That's got to mean something. I hear it's way better than like Folgers or that other junk. So check out shopfloorcoffee.com. If you put in the code ALL10, you'll get a special offer for 10% off. Here's the beautiful thing about them. Not only is it good coffee, from what I've heard, but they also give a portion of their proceeds to different charities that support manufacturing in different ways. So if you want to give back, and you like coffee, this is a perfect way to do that. Go to shopfloorcoffee.com and put in the code ALL10, and you can be making a difference for other people. Last but not least, I'm just going to throw this out there. Our family is heading out to Honduras and New Orleans in the summer. We are going to go serve the different areas out there. In New Orleans, we go to an organization called Urban Impact, and we will work within the community. They have a kids program, an after-school program, where we'll go and work with the kids and do different things there. And we'll also do some community beautification. It's a great organization, going out and talking about Jesus with people. So, and the other thing we're going to Honduras, organization called El Ayudante, where we are going to go into the communities and serve the people that are there, bringing them food and not bringing them food. I'm sorry, water filters, clean water, working on schools, buildings, houses, things like that. And so if you would like to help us and support what we're doing, there's a QR code. Please go ahead and scan that. Any amount is appreciated, but not necessary. I'm just throwing it out there because sometimes people say, why don't you tell us what you're doing so that we can help you? Well, there it is. If you're interested, you can help us. If not, thanks for listening. That's what we have going on right now. In a couple of weeks, we'll be at the AMBA conference. I encourage everybody to come out to that. I believe they probably still have spots. I don't have a slide for it, but that's what is going to be going on in a couple of weeks out in Grand Rapids. And as far as upcoming shows, today we have Cameron and Eric Bean from Bald Mountain Manufacturing. They'll be jumping on with us shortly. And then the week after that is Lindsay Mann from MTD Micromolding. April 30th is Tony Broadzeller from Innovation Mold and Design. Then we'll be at the AMBA conference. We may have some surprises there. That's May 7th. May 14th, Katie Sobey will join us with, I believe, her father from PTP Manufacturing. And I was going to be at MD&M East in May, but I don't think I will now. So we will probably do a show then. So that's the schedule. That's what's coming up. We're really excited to share all those things with you. But I have rambled on long enough, and we have people to talk to. So, excuse me. If you are listening, I see some people listening, and you want that was weird. And you want to let us know, please, please, please. It's a live show, so put a question or a comment on whatever social media platform you're listening to. And Eric, Cameron, and I will get to those comments. We will answer those questions. We want to hear your thoughts. This is not just us talking. This is all of us talking collectively. This is how we create a community. So if nothing else, let us know you're there. Say hello, right? Put your name in there. Put your company name in there. Get a quick shout out for your brand. We love it. It's really, really important for us as manufacturers and people in the space to be able to push our name out there in a way that others have to pay attention to what it is we're doing. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in our friends, Eric and Cameron Bean. Hello, guys. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Tony. Thanks for having us.
It's exciting. It's exciting. I love talking to father and son teams because that's my background. That's what I got to do for so long. Is be in business with my father and be able to do those things. So why don't we do this? What is Bald Mountain Manufacturing?
So we are a job shop. As of today, yeah, we just build whatever blueprint the customer sends to us out of whatever material they ask for. So we do work for the semiconductor industry, medical industry, industrial automation, food processing, recreational work, assembly lines. We've gotten to do a pretty big variety of work in a fairly short amount of time. As far as materials, I would say maybe 60% of the stuff we do is aluminum, and then pretty heavy percentage of stainless steels as well, and then different types of plastics thrown in there. Yeah, that's pretty much what we do. We do a lot of low volume prototype work. Not that we're against production, just I think with our size and how we're set up, we're pretty set up for prototypes and low volume work. We're responsive, and we generally have a fast turnaround time. So I think we fit that niche pretty well naturally.
I think it's good to have those niches and to know that, right? Like this is our strength, right? We want to do low volume prototype work. There's a need for those things. People are looking for that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it has its set of challenges, but you know, like you said, that work is pretty much always there, that low volume prototype work. So yeah, if it's there, we've taken it. And it's helped us build our shop. So
But we also like production work.
Go ahead.
I like production work particularly. I like to see how efficient we can be as we're going through the job, and that's fun for me. So.
Yeah, and you have to start somewhere, right? It's really easy for people to be like, no, I don't want to help you. You don't have enough parts for me. I'm not going to make enough money on it. Good luck, find someone else.
Yeah,
But-
definitely.
But I don't know if you found this, but like people have an idea and a concept and a dream, and it's good to be able to help them out.
Yeah, or even, give them advice on how you can make this cheaper for them, easier to machine, easier to turn into, cheaper production work. Ultimately, I think customers value that feedback.
Yeah, we were dealing with a company a while back where I think they probably spent a fair amount of money on an engineering team to help design something, and if they frankly, the way they engineered it, it would cost much more than it needed to cost to machine it. So
Sure.
that would have been helpful for them to know earlier.
And what's crazy is people don't know, right? They have this idea. They don't know how it's going to get made. They don't know what that looks like. So it's good to have, people like yourselves, the experts, to be able to say, if you did this a little bit differently, if you looked at this, if you tweak that, we could probably do this faster, more efficient, and more cost effective for you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So after people want to do the first run or the prototype, the concept, do you guys refer them to somebody else for the mass production, or do you take that on as well?
I would say the type of customer that we generally get probably actually isn't even running high production stuff. They might need, it might be a consumable part that wears out every month, so they order a year supply, right? That might only be 12 parts, and that might be all that they need.
Okay.
They might be, like one of our biggest customers sells these medical machines, but I don't know exactly how many machines they move. I would bet it's under 50 machines. So each machine obviously has an assembly of parts, but yeah, at the end of the day, if they're only selling 50 machines, you're only making 50 parts for those 50 machines. So
Sure.
And we help them with that. So,
yeah.
You help
So
them
I
with-
would say that's just kind of, I wouldn't say that most of our customers are just sending us lower volume work and then subbing out the higher volume work to other companies. I think that's just where they fall on
Sure.
the units they sell usually.
Well, that's good then. I mean, that's great. I sometimes
Yeah.
I wish we had more companies around here to do low volume stuff. Like when we're building our laser welding equipment, we don't need a ton of things. We need like 12,
Yes.
15, 20,
Yeah.
We
Yep.
can't afford to have a whole stock of everything that we need for, 100 machines if we're not going to build 100 machines.
Yeah.
well, give us a call, Tony. We're happy to help.
We know a couple of guys.
Listen, it would be a shame to have to come out and visit too.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. That's
To get out
right.
of Illinois and come out and visit. You guys are in Idaho?
Idaho. Yep.
Yeah. Southern
That's
Idaho.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. We are in a pretty rural area right now, where we're at. So people usually drive out and they're like, you guys are out here, even for Idaho. So if an Idahoan says you guys are out there, then you're out there.
Even for Idaho.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Well,
We kind of have a story like, the electricity that we use, we don't have 3-phase power in the shop.
Okay.
This is my grandpa's shop. So, we run on the end of a line that powers a lot of agricultural equipment like pumps and, what else? What are the pivots and pumps?
Okay.
So yeah, when we installed our big mill, that was our first big piece of like power hungry 3-phase equipment. So, got the rotary phase converter to convert to 3-phase, and we installed it in, I think, the spring, May of 2024. And when summertime came around, all of those pivots and pumps were drawing so much more power that we were actually getting low voltage alarms on our mill like midsummer day, the power was actually dropping because it was getting sucked down by all those agricultural applications. So
Wow.
yeah, we kind of unique situation. We got around it, but yeah, I don't think everyone faces those problems.
No, it just means you get the day off, I guess.
That's right. Half days every day.
I mean, you can't stop the farmers, right?
Yeah.
You need the food. So
Yeah, that's right. We are benefiting our country by taking a half day in the
Yeah.
summers. Yeah.
that's very big of you. That's very kind. I mean, what a sacrifice.
Yeah.
We're going to work half day so everybody else can eat. Wow. What
That's
a bunch
right.
of guys.
Everyone-
Like,
That'll be our tagline.
if you're looking for any other reason to use these guys, it's because they care. They care about you and they want to make sure you have food to eat, whether that means they have food on their own table or not. That's irrelevant.
Yes,
They want to
yes.
help out you.
Yes, that's right.
So
Yeah.
you said it was your grandfather's shop. So is this third generation?
No, so he owns the building, I should have said. He owns the building and the property.
Okay.
And then we started Bald Mountain Manufacturing in the beginning of 2023. So it's a very
Okay.
new business. Yeah, we're just over 2 years in now. And my dad came on about a year ago now, I would say.
So it's the opposite of what it typically is. Typically it's, grandpa has it or starts it or dad starts it. And then, son comes in and works for the company a little bit. This was the opposite. How did that work? How did it work?
So yeah, I kind of got into this. I went to school for engineering, and then I got an internship where they had a machine shop in house, and that was the first time I was exposed to a machine shop, which was, not very long ago. That was 2022,
Okay.
and yeah, I learned a machine. I think they brought me on originally to design parts, but then we built everything in house, so I learned to machine there, and eventually bought a little TIG welder and started knocking on local machine shop doors to offer them a service that maybe they didn't have in house, and establish a connection with them. And with the idea that maybe if I get a machine down the road, I would have already had that pre-existing relationship.
Sure.
And so, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. I got a little welder and started knocking on doors. One guy gave me a repeat job, which we still do today. And I eventually asked him if he had like an old mill he'd sell me,
Okay.
on my fresh graduate budget. And we got a little Haas mini mill, and my grandpa had this shop, and thankfully allowed me to put it in here. And so got started on a little Haas mini mill. And then we got a bigger mill in, like I said, the spring of 2024. So we've had that about a year now. And about that time, my dad came on, which has been a huge help. He helps, I was doing the whole one-man show. So quoting, machining, running parts around. So being able to pass that off to him has been awesome. And that's pretty much, unless I'm missing something. If you have anything to add.
No, I'd just say, this was Cameron's show, and my background is in law and business out of college, and then went back to school, went to law school, and then I was a corporate attorney for a number of years. And I was ready to do something other than law, and yet I didn't know what it was. And so I started working towards. I felt like the Lord was moving me to something else, and so I started kind of figuring out how might this work for me to transition to something else that I don't know what it is yet.
Yeah.
And that was a long process, and just kind of kept going without knowing where I was gonna land. And then really within the last couple of years before I joined Cameron, he started just hustling, going after all of this like he described. And I was in the background helping, having a dad as an attorney, starting a business. That's kind of handy. And so I was able to help some there. But it was really all Cameron. And then we talked a lot and said, well, we kind of both launched the idea of what if I came on and just helped? And so that's what we ended up doing eventually. And I don't have the experience of joining my dad, like a traditional father-son team. the only experience I have is joining my son's business, and I
Sure.
can tell you, it's been just an absolute blast to watch your son mature into a businessman, and then I don't know how to CNC machine as I'm coming on, and he's teaching me that skill, and it was just, transitioning from always teaching your son from how to ride a bike to, fill in the blank, and then to have your son teaching you how to do this business. It's just been really, really fun, and I can't say probably every father and son. I think you have to have the right relationship, and
Yeah.
and you have to be able to let go and let your son drive. And I don't know that everyone has the right relationship to be able to do that. But for us, I think it's worked really well. It's been really fun for me.
No, ditto. Yeah, it's been on both ends. Yeah, it's been very helpful. Yeah, and he's been a huge help. So more than he's letting on. He's being humble right now, but he's contributed a lot more than what he's letting on right now. Yeah.
Well, that's a sign of a good partnership, right? Where both people feel like they can do more, and bring that together. The worst thing you can have is when both people are like, I do more than you do. You're not pulling your weight. You need to step up, right? That's when you have disasters.
Yeah.
But when each side is like, you're doing a lot. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing. And it's reciprocal about both ways. Man, you're in a good spot there.
Yeah. And he's, I would say we complement each other better than what I thought we would. I thought, I guess when he came on, that we would be doing relatively the same things, but I will say he's a lot more organized and system oriented than I am. I would be the guy leaving the Allen wrenches on his bench, and then losing my hammer like 7 times a day. He had a place for everything. And so, as we're, quality management systems, for example, he has been able to take that on like no problem at all, where I would have struggled with it. So, and likewise, I don't think he necessarily likes being in a machine, troubleshooting something that should have worked the first time, and it just didn't. So yeah, I would say we complement each other fairly well in that realm.
It's really important to have that. I mean, I can't stress those things enough. Like that's how it is. I have 2 business partners, and I am not the machine shop guy. That's not my skill set. I didn't grow up. I mean, I kind of grew up in the polishing world, but I drove. My dad would be like, "Go, it's 100 degrees outside. Go put a sprinkler system in," right? Like all those kinds of things. Like I said before, to make me a little bit miserable, and it's fine. It's fine. But my partner Doug grew up a mold maker. So he knows the ins and outs of the machines, right? He's been laser welding for 20 years now. He's got that down. My other partner is also my uncle. He runs our polishing department. He has got that down, right? He's been doing that for almost probably close to 40 years at this point. And he loves it, and he's really, really good at it. So I don't need to put my nose in those areas, right? I can just trust that those things are going to get done. And I can focus on the things that are more my skill set, trying to help build the culture and the marketing and the branding and bringing people together and having, the conversations, get our name out there, come up with some of the systems of the business and the processes and procedures. But it's really important that everybody be able to come together and trust each other to do their job in a way that's going to make sense and make all of us as a company, but for you guys, more money and be able to do more stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
It's really cool that you guys are doing that. So Cameron, you were done with school. Did you go work somewhere else first?
Yeah. So I got an internship between my junior and senior year working for that company I was describing earlier.
Okay.
They made aftermarket dirt bike parts, and I pretty much showed up there because I like dirt bikes. And then I didn't know, like I was saying, I didn't know they built everything in house. Maybe my dad had mentioned, my dad was actually the one who recommended I go down there and knock on the door. He might've known that they built things in house, but I didn't know what a mill or a lathe was or anything like that. Much less like CNC controlled mills and lathes. So when I went in there, they gave me a tour of the place. and it was pretty much autonomously running. I think they just had a couple guys in there, and they had fifth axis machines with robotic arms in front of them. They were loading, billet pieces of aluminum off the shelves and then turning them into foot pegs. And I thought it was awesome. I thought it was like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. It's kind of what it felt like all these machines autonomously running with no one helping them. And so, they hired me that summer I think I was designing fixturing was my original, like what they brought me on for. They wanted to build pallet systems so they could run a bunch of these little parts instead of one at a time. And then I went back to school for my senior year. They hired me back full time right out of school. And I was there for 8 months. And during that 8 months, I had bought that TIG welder. And then I had lined up that one repeat job I was talking about. And I bought a mini mill kind of right towards the end of that. And I actually bought this little tool grinding machine. So I was resharpening annular cutters. So I was just trying to do anything I could to get something off the ground. I wouldn't say I was particularly passionate about resharpening tools or even TIG welding. It's a valuable skill to have, but I wouldn't say that I lived to TIG weld by any means. I wanted a machine. I got that, and I didn't really have much work lined up. I had very minimal things, but my grandpa had the shop. I didn't know how long this window would be open. So, I just kind of leapt. My wife was working also at the time. So she was paying the bills while I was hustling, I guess, for lack of a better term. And then, eventually just started lining up more and more jobs and meeting more people. I should give a lot of credit to, I met a couple guys in the industry around here, local guys that have helped me a ton. I would take jobs that were definitely over my head, and I would know that if I couldn't figure it out, I could give them a call, and they're one phone call away for speeds and feeds or different work holding strategies. I still talk to those guys a lot. They help me a lot. One of them is actually a tool maker too. So he'll build custom end mills for us. I can't even tell you how many times he's bailed me out of some job because I needed some weird geometry end mill, the next day. I don't know who else. I can't hardly find anyone else who has that same experience. I'm trying to think what else. That's pretty much it. Just kept lining up jobs. I quickly outgrew that little mini mill, I had to turn down jobs because the travel dimensions were so small. So when we got that big mill, that opened up a lot of opportunity. Also on that tool maker, he has an old Haas VF2 in his shop. And before I got this big mill, he would actually let me run jobs on that mill at night, like when they weren't using their mill. So he gave me a key to his shop and everything. I would go in there and burn the midnight oil running these parts, just trying to save up some money to buy a bigger mill. And I don't know if I'd want to relive those days at this point, but it got us off the ground and going. So definitely appreciative of it. I did not do this on my own. I guess that's what I've had a lot of help. Yeah, definitely.
But he also didn't, that wasn't me. none of those, I didn't know any of those people. That was all Cameron out hustling and meeting people, and feel like the Lord definitly led him down a path there that opened into where we are now. So.
Yeah. It's so cool. And I think that's the thing that's missing out of a lot of people is the hustle and the hard work. People expect things to just be easy. They just want to hit an easy button. Like I'm going to start a business. I'm going to open my doors and we're going to be busy.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing, and Cameron and I talked about this when he even launched faster than I was kind of saying, well, why don't you wait a couple more months? And he was like, no, I'm going. But one of the things that I think a lot of people think is, especially coming out of school and they're young, is, well, I need to go out and I need to work someplace to get the experience first before I can, then I'll be qualified, so to speak. And there can be some of that. But I think that we probably put too much weight on that, because oftentimes what happens is people, the time they're out getting the experience, but the clock is ticking in the meantime. And then kids start to come, mortgages come, and the leap just gets that much farther away from them. And it's just hard to do it. So Cameron and I have talked quite a bit about that. Like, what do you think now that you are where you are? And he mentioned that already, that it's hard, but sometimes waiting isn't always your friend either. So.
There's a lot of people that say, when I get to this, then I'll do that, right? And
Yes.
you
Yeah.
can do that to death, right? You
Yeah.
can paralyze yourself with those things. When we hit this dollar amount, then I'll do this. When I do this, then I'll do that. I can't do this until this happens. And what I really, really admire is that you just said, to heck with it. We're just going to do this thing, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to see what happens. It reminds me when my wife and I had a graphic design company. Before that, we were both working for another company, and we did not like our bosses, and we did not like the situation that we were in, and we didn't love it. And I just said, you know what? You're good at what you do. I'm good at what I do. Why don't we just start a company, and we'll see what happens, right? Like, the worst case scenario, it fails and we have to get jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll be in debt. But the worst case scenario is it doesn't go well and we have to go get another job. So let's just do it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We ended up doing that. The bad part about it was we did that, built a house, and had a baby all in the same year. I would not recommend that.
Yeah.
That was a lot. But it worked. It worked we did that for about 10 years. And then I came back to Alliance for a number of reasons. But I think sometimes it does just take that boldness to not sit back and wait, but to just say, like, I'm going to go and I'm going to figure this out as we're going along. My dad knows stuff about business. I can use him as a resource. He's going to help me out along the way. I have this opportunity. Like, God has given me a shop. I have connections. Why am I going to wait? What am I waiting for? I'm just going to go.
Yeah, definitely.
So how has that transition been for you, going from, like, I have a welder, I'm learning how to weld, I have a mini mill, can I get this job? Let me ask you this. Is there a lot of what you do in your area? I mean, you said you're out there pretty much in the boonies, right? So what does the landscape look like for you guys as far as other manufacturers?
Yeah, there's surprisingly a pretty large amount for them. There's a kind of a lot of the garage warriors, so to speak, of guys who have mills in their garage. There's way more than I thought there would be. I'm talking about we are out in kind of agricultural land, but we're probably, 30 miles from Boise, would you say?
Yeah, we're in the Boise, call it the Valley, but kind of the general metropolitan area, if you could call it metropolitan.
Yeah, so there's a large population for Idaho. There's a large population kind of where we are in the surrounding area, and that's where most of the work comes from, is Boise area, or suburb towns of Boise. But yeah, it has its limitations. I mean, there's not like big Boeing factories around here by any means, but we do have Micron, which is a really big semiconductor producing factory. Okay. Then there's a lot of companies that support Micron, so it gets kind of filtered down. So yeah, the semiconductor industry, for example, is pretty large around here. People always make fun of us for our potatoes, but the potato industry is pretty big. It's pretty big around here too. So there's a lot of food processing companies and sort of automation equipment that support those companies. A lot of moving parts. That's why, we get a lot of stainless steel. It's predominantly for food processing. So yeah, I wouldn't say that there's necessarily a shortage of work around here, but a lot of it is those, or I should say a lot of them is that kind of lower volume work, at least from what we've found. But I can't speak for shops who have been around a long time. Like I recognize we're definitely in the beginning stages still. And, a lot of bigger shops turn down those lower volume work orders, which is, I'm sure, why we get them. A lot of people don't like doing that stuff because they can be tricky to make money on. So sure. I know that's why we get them, but at the same time, makes us better, and we get introduced to other companies as well. So,
and I would add, watching Cameron, he in terms of moving from the TIG welding, which frankly, he has beautiful TIG welds. Wish he's tried to teach me a little bit. Mine do not look like his. But, from the TIG welding into the milling to where we are now, I guess the one phrase that comes to my mind is no fear. I mean, he just would jump in and, yeah, we'll learn it. We'll figure it out, and he did, and still does. And he commented about, tinkering around the machine to figure it out. He does that. And I tend to get a little frustrated and move on to something else, and Cameron will come in and figure that out. And so it's a talent he has, and it's been fun to watch, and that continues to power us forward at this point.
But in the meantime, he replaces that lost Allen wrench that I was talking about. He puts that.
We're able to find the element.
Yeah.
So that is invaluable.
It is.
I mean,
he is not talking himself up as much as he could. But like when he first came on, the shop was it was a zoo, and it wasn't just misplacing things. It was like
you had goats and
chaos.
sheep, and
it was just chaos. Yeah, what's that?
You had animals running around, goats and sheep, and
Well, we do have chickens, so I don't know.
Okay.
They probably found their way in here at one point. Yeah.
Well, Cameron he was able to put. We kind of traced this down through my family a little bit. That he's able to put the Allen wrench down, and then he'll come back and he remembers where he put it.
Yeah.
But the rest of us don't know where he put it. So that's the only problem.
That was the problem.
More than one,
That's the problem.
Person, so.
Yeah. I inherited my dad's disease, which is just plain forgetfulness. It's not Alzheimer's, it's not dementia, it's just forgetfulness. Like, I once I was on the phone looking for my phone. That's the level of ridiculousness.
At least you don't wear glasses, Tony. You don't have that one to look for on your forehead. So yeah.
Well,
That's
I
right.
do have a pair. I just choose not to wear them. So there's that. But I think what you're saying is it's so important, right? Like you can lose tremendous efficiency if you don't know where your stuff is. And we've worked hard on our shop and trying to be. We are not 5S. I think 5S is a great goal as far as efficiency, being able to know where everything is and everything has its place, so that you know exactly where to go every time you need something. It's really hard to do that when you're busy. I mean, if you're honest, because you put it away and then you get it out, and put it away and you get it out, and put it away and you get it out.
Yes.
But at least you know where your stuff is, right? Like if you could do that at the end of the day, you'd be in really good shape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you definitely save more time if you just put it back. This is a lesson I have to continue to teach myself, but I got him over here to remind me of that.
I learned it from a friend who's a mechanic with background, and we were working on an engine together years ago, and I noticed Jewel went back in the same place each time, and that's kind of how I learned it. I just adopted it and started doing that when I work in the garage as well. And but we also recently toured a local business where they're very organized to the extent where they'd open a tool tray and they've got foam with individual tool, and I think that makes sense. I think you just have to right size those organizational methods for your business. I mean, for the two of us, I don't think we really need to go to that length. But yeah, if we had the drawer and we always go back to the same drawer, that's helpful for when.
And if you had 50 guys running around,
then it gets more towards the other end. Yeah,
absolutely. And then just like even just labeling something, like if you don't know where fill in the blank is, and you got more than one person in the shop, like you have to know, because you put you put the stuff where it goes, or where it originally went. Where it is now, who knows? But we talk about that here. We've got a team of people, like label the drawers, like label what's going on. We started doing the foam cutout so that we could see what that looks like. Is this my father? Is that my father that's joining us, or is that my brother? So he says, saw that was a father and son style, and I figured I'd say hi before I go to the AT hill. Dad, that's got to be my father. Yeah, that's got to be my father. But him and I were just talking the other day about trying to be more organized in the shop. He came in and we were talking about other things, and it helps so much if you can find the things that you need on a moment's notice, especially when you are a 1-2 person shop and every minute counts towards billing and being more efficient and being able to turn parts and products for your customers, every single moment matters. And you have to track that time, right? Like if you're busy looking for your Allen wrench, then you're not busy making parts, and you're not
Yeah.
busy selling more stuff and going out and seeing more people, because you got to find that stupid Allen wrench.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Definitely.
So I'm going to ask this because it's like a big thing for me right now is this American manufacturing, right? Like I love that you guys are doing this. I think it's so cool. And I think that there's a lot of people, probably nobody that's listening to this, that don't understand the importance of American manufacturing. Why is it important to you guys?
You know, I would almost flip it to our customers. I would say from a customer standpoint, the feedback we've gotten is specifically like take prototyping specifically. You know, we're just a phone call away, right down the and even like local American manufacturing, for example, a phone call away or a drive away. You can make a change and you could have a part, you know, maybe the next day. You have kind of a level of trust with the guy. You know that there's not going to be anything stuck on a cargo ship. If some event happens that's out of your control. Yeah, I would say first and foremost, communication and trust is probably the biggest feedback that we get on why people choose to go with American manufacturing. Feedback and yeah, what would you say?
I think so. Yeah, it's a kind of different steps. I think locally, it's so nice to be able to just go down and drive to your vendor that you're working with on something, and each step removed from that just gets harder. If I have to go to Chicago and I'm in Boise, that's going to take time. And if you go international, I've dealt with international over the years, and pretty much you're going to burn a day just about with every back and forth because of the time differences usually. And so everything just slows down. You have language issues as well that can you think you're speaking the same dialogue and yet the same words are spoken, but there's a misunderstanding there at times. And so, and then at the national level, I think every country should be able to lean on itself to a certain extent to provide for its own needs and own market. And so I also think that we've, as a nation, we've just gone a long ways away from manufacturing. And we've, to the extent where now we're, well, we were just chatting about this yesterday, that I think there's, some people feel like, well, I can go out and work in a trade or in manufacturing, for example, and I'm only going to earn this much. I'll go work in an office. Well, in the office, a lot of those people are only earning that much. They're not earning big dollars either, and yet they don't have something tangible at the end of the day to hold in their hands that shows what they did. And so I think we need to kind of reorient our value system a little bit to put more value on being able to produce a tangible product or good, whether that's farming or welding or manufacturing like what we're doing. So.
No, I love that. For a long time, I was happy sitting at a desk doing graphic design and whatever that looked like. But even that started going overseas. You started competing with people on things like $99 logos, and they were just offshoring everything. And you have the same issues with manufacturing today. And I think the danger is people don't realize how dangerous it is when you can't make stuff at home. Some of the people that we rely on in different countries are the people that we could end up fighting with at some point. And, whether that's pharmaceuticals, whether that's steel, whether that is, fill in the blank, semiconductors, whatever that thing is, they're not going to keep giving it to us. Like, that would be insane, right? I mean, I was talking with a guy the other day. We were talking about steel mills, and if we get most of our, if we collectively as a country get most of our steel or aluminum from places like China or wherever that is, and we go, hey, we're gearing up for a war. Can we buy some steel and aluminum? They're going to be like, no, like,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And I think the other part is I was just listening to a thing today with Kevin O'Leary was speaking to Congress, I believe. It was on Breitbart's post. And they were talking about WeatherTech. And WeatherTech is a big Chicago company. If you've got a truck, you probably have a WeatherTech floor mat in your car. And what they were saying was WeatherTech decided to go offshore to build the molds for their floor mats. And the owner of WeatherTech was scrolling online, and he found his floor mats on Alibaba.com. And he thought, I've never done work with Alibaba. I don't know what this organization is. I don't know how they got my stuff. It had his logo. It had everything on it. And what they found was they built their mold, and they built a secondary mold, right? And so what happens is there's no intellectual property rights. People can steal whatever they want to steal. And how are you going to go after them? You can't.
Yeah.
And it's a huge danger to your product, to your proprietary information, to everything that you have to make your business and make your parts. And we're just giving all of that stuff away.
Yeah. And I mean, I know that happens in every industry, basically.
Yes.
Name your widget. There is a Chinese knockoff for a quarter of the price that you sell it for. So, yeah, but to willingly hand them the blueprint, say, hey, why don't you make me one? And then when you're done, go ahead and make one yourself. Yeah, that's true.
It's a bad mix, right? Like with our laser engravers, we had a company come in, and it was a Chinese company, and they wanted to make our laser engravers. And I said, absolutely not. We're not doing this. And, some members of our team said they just want to come in and talk to us. And I was like, fine, they can come in and talk to us. That's fine. Well, I'll be nice. And so they came in and we were talking, and we said, you can't make us a machine. First of all, we make our own equipment. We like making our own equipment. It's really, really important to us. And they said, we can make this. And we said, you can't make it as good as we can. And you can't make it with the tolerances that we need. And I said, oh yes, we can make this. And our lead engineer was like, these are the tolerances that we need. And they said, you cannot do this. And then we said, no, we can. We do it. This is what we're talking about. And they said, we can make it cheaper for you. So you give us your engineers, you give us your information, and then we'll make it for you because we can make it cheaper. And I said, okay, so if you make this for us, it's just ours. You're not going to sell it to anybody else. You're not going to use it. And they went, well, no, like, I'm not going to show you how to do all the stuff that you said you can't do so that you can take it and sell it to somebody else. And I got to compete with somebody else when they couldn't do the thing that I wanted to do. That's stupid.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, that happens. Yeah. Every industry. I think you could, aside from maybe defense, where we have to keep it in the States, I think that happens in every industry.
And it's so crazy because there's so many people that don't get it. Right. And I really believe that, whether it's this podcast or, you guys being on LinkedIn and sharing your stories with what you're doing, what you're creating, what's happening. Kelsey's your wife. Yeah. She's doing a great job putting it out there. That's how I found you guys. I think that we have a responsibility as people in manufacturing to continue to tell the stories about why what we're doing is so important and how we're doing it, how we're able to make a difference, not just for our families or the people that work for us, but for everybody else that uses the products that we're building and making and doing. But nobody's going to tell the story for us, right? Like the news is not knocking on anybody's door going, hey, do you have any awesome manufacturing stories that you can tell us? Because for whatever reason, right? I'm not going to say it doesn't fit the narrative. I don't care. I just think that we have to do a better job of constantly screaming from the rooftops the things that we're doing and why it matters and why it's important and why made in America is a big deal.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the manufacturing industry, like you were saying, is just simply unknown. I mean, I went to school for engineering and basically stumbled across CNC machining. I mean, you could say, of course, the Lord very well might have lined that up. I'm sure he did line that up for me, but yeah, and I'm sure it was mentioned in a college course that I've taken of this is a way that we can manufacture things by machining. I'm sure it was, but they're certainly not telling people, yeah, you could go start your own machine shop. I mean, yeah, that was not mentioned. That's not even. It's all about designing. It's all about, building. I guess really just designing the product, which we need. We need those people, but there is a huge importance of being able to build your own product too. I mean, that's the other side that gets ignored. Of you can design a product as complicated as you want, but if you can't build it at the end of the day, it's never gonna get released to market. So. I think we could do a much better job of even in engineering school telling people you got to build it to be able to be manufactured. And that's still a problem we face today. We get a lot of parts that come in where we're like, you can't even machine this. I mean, was this not even discussed? But when you were going to send this to the machine shop, like this is impossible. It's not even a lack of skill. It's just it simply cannot be done on a machine. Those type of things. Which is crazy. You have these engineers who have been working for decades and you can't.
And they don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how that gets missed. And it's not anything on the engineer. I think it's just like we were saying, I think manufacturing is just really not talked about as much as it could be.
And I think there's a fair amount of, I think, arrogance and ignorance, I think, on part of our country in terms of, well, yeah, we can't build this today, but we could if we had to in a pinch. And I think it's really with a lot of manufacturing, you use it or lose it. And once the skill is lost, it's not a quick flip back to being able to do it. So it's important that we're able to make things.
I think it's critical. And what I find really interesting is, people just have this misconception about what manufacturing is, that it's this dark, dirty, dingy situation that nobody wants to do, right? It
or you're on an assembly line, doing the same thing over and over.
Right. And it reminds me of like two different conversations I had with people. One of them, the guy said, you want people. So Justine Ewald and I are doing a new series called Make Manufacturing Fun Again, where we are going into companies and learning what they do, who they are, why they do what they do, how they do it. And then they give us jobs to do and to see if we can pick it up and who is the better employee of the day. It's a lot of fun. It's on our Make Manufacturing Fun Again YouTube channel. It's a ton of fun. We recorded a couple episodes. They're coming out month by month. It's super fun. So one of the people posted a comment that said, you're telling people that they should get into manufacturing like that is a dream job. Like that's something that people want to do instead of have to do. And it's just such a naive statement. Like, okay, dude, just because you don't want to do it doesn't mean that other people don't want to do it, right? Like they may not want to do your job. I don't know what your job is. Maybe you're a proctologist. They don't want to stare at butts all day. Like that sounds horrible to me, right? Like I don't want to be a dentist. I think people's mouths are gross. I don't want to do that, right? But for some people, that's the direction that they want to go. We need all those people, right? We need dentists. We need proctologists. We need people making stuff. Yeah, it's insane to think that we don't. I had another conversation with a guy. He's a lawyer. This is nothing against lawyers. I have plenty of friends who are lawyers. But he was telling me that he was very against the tariffs. He's not a fan of Trump at all, which I don't care. You have your political affiliations, however you want to have them. And so he was just saying that he was an idiot because of the tariffs and blah, 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 blah. And I just said, man, you got to listen. You got to understand, like, we're a small manufacturing company. These tariffs are helping us to bring more jobs back to the local community, to the places that need the work. There are a ton of manufacturers that they don't want to fire their people. They have good people. They have good skills. They're trying to find things for them to do. And they want to keep bringing work in. But if it's going overseas, it's really, really hard. So by putting the tariffs in place, it's causing people to rethink their strategies and where they're going to go with the work. And his response was, oh, you're fighting for this dying, obsolete industry in our country. And I was like, at that point, I didn't even know how to have a conversation anymore because I was going to start to get mean. Because
I think people don't tend to not even think about what goes into like the microphone that you're talking into right there. I mean,
Right.
those things just appear apparently instead of, there's a lot of work that goes into that, a lot of components.
So many things, right? And we take all of those things for granted. And when COVID was here, nobody took any of it for granted, right? Nobody thought manufacturing was stupid at that point. It was, how many more ventilators can we make? How many more masks can we make? How do we get more PPE? How do we transform our alcohol business into a hand sanitizer business? How do we do all these things? How do we consolidate and make stuff happen? Well, guess what? Without manufacturing companies, none of that was even possible. But they don't appreciate it until there's another catastrophe, right? And hopefully we don't have another catastrophe for people to recognize the importance of everything we do. And I'm not saying that manufacturing is more important than other things for other people. I'm just saying all those things are necessary. You know, the Bible says we're all part of the same body, right? And as a country, we have our own body. And we need all the different parts to be successful in that body, or else we're going to fall apart and we're not going to be able to do the things that we need to do when it's important to do it.
I think something I've been thinking about lately is I think that, you know, as a country, we're kind of addicted to cheap products or cheap goods. And it'll be interesting, you know, we tend to think of the old days as we had quality products. And sometimes you look back at those old products and maybe they weren't quite the quality we thought they were, but other times they are, we're still using them. And it'll be interesting to see if perhaps some of this will drive, if we are having to pay more for different goods and tools, will we start to shift away from the, instead of repair, we toss it? Will instead we be able to start to repair some of the things that we're using again? That may sound terrible to a lot of people, but it also could be a pretty good thing. I mean, we're not just tossing a bunch of stuff in the landfill at that point. Maybe we're repairing it and continuing to use it at that point. But it'd be interesting to see.
It would be a huge benefit. I mean, I know, like, think of like your washer and dryer or your refrigerator. Like, they make them disposable isn't the right word, but you know, it's impossible to fix those things, and it costs nearly as much to fix it as it does to buy a new one, and they don't last as long. It's like, you know, you buy a fridge and the warranty ends after 3 years. It's going to last 4, and then after the 4th year you can't get parts, and if you can get parts, they're crazy expensive, and the guy doesn't even know how to put them in, and so you're better off buying a new fridge. So, like, to your point, people keep talking about, and I think it's a good thing, sustainability and you know, the environment and landfills and all of that stuff. Well, maybe it starts with quality products. Maybe it starts with not needing and buying the cheapest thing out there because it's the cheapest thing out there.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about that either. About or now we start engineering things to not break after 4 years, like you're saying. I mean, that's definitely purposefully built like that. I mean, maybe we go back away from doing that, go back to what we used to do. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, and when you look at it, I mean, like a lot of those companies, what's their goal? Their goal is to sell more product, right?
Yeah.
And do they want it to last 10, 15, 20 years? It's hard to say yes to that.
I think they're calling it engineered obsolescence. Is that what they're calling it? I think.
I don't know, but I like that. I mean, it seems to make sense, right? Do I think it's a good thing? No. I mean, how many washers, dryers, refrigerators, and those kinds of things are in landfills because they can't be fixed or people don't know how to fix them? And then you go into somebody's garage and they've got a fridge from like 1970. It's green, it's ugly, and it still works.
Yeah.
That's amazing, right? How much more do we need to spend actually building quality products that are going to last us, you know, a lifetime is a hard word to say, but longer.
Yeah.
So your Kelsey has a message here. We'll let her participate. She said, I've heard the stat that $600 billion worth of IP is stolen by China every year. Made in America could easily drop that number significantly. Cost is important, but at some point it'll bite you.
Yeah, that's kind of, going right back to what we were talking about earlier with your weather mats that you were referring to.
Yeah, WeatherTech.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. You might be paying cheaper on the front end for products made in China, but if they are ripping off your product and selling it for a quarter of the price, and then you're losing business later on, yeah, I don't know if you actually saved any money if you lost potential sales in the future because of it.
Well, not only that, but are they going to build it with the same quality, or are they just going to put your name on it?
Yeah.
And then
slap
what does
it
that do to your brand as a whole? Because then you have to wonder, is it my part or is it somebody else's part? What does this look like? There's a
Yeah.
lot of people now that are putting QR codes on all of their products to make sure that they can scan them to find out if it really is their part or if it's something else.
Oh, interesting.
Daryl Gatrix, my friend from Canada. Listen, we love North America, not just America. I love my friends in Canada. Daryl, he says machinists, because engineers need heroes too.
That's right. That's right. Definitely.
I love that. And then Jason Mays was talking about how, we lose things all the time and reminding us that time is money. So every dollar we spend looking for something else or doing something else, it's money that we're losing out of our pockets.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun stuff, man. What are your next goals? So you went from the welding to the mini mill to the bigger mill to having your dad join you, which is, so incredibly big as a blessing to have somebody with the business background and the legal background in your back pocket and in your shop. I can't tell you how many times that would have been beneficial. It's crazy.
Yeah, we always joke that we're the smallest company to have an in-house legal team. Not many can pull that off. Yeah.
But good for you. That's awesome, right? It's one less thing you have to worry about. And, I don't have to tell you, there's people that will try to take advantage of you and not want to pay you or, try and jump through the loopholes and find different ways to get out of things. And to have somebody there that has the background, that's, to me, invaluable. If nothing else, to send a scary letter.
Yeah, that's right.
It's quickly fading in the rearview mirror. I actually gave up, resigned from the bar and everything. So I put all that in the rearview mirror at this point. So technically I'm not an attorney anymore, but yeah, still have a lot of experience.
But the skills developed in that career can be applied, obviously. Yeah, very analytical, and if we do have a long document, he's a machine.
Those NDAs, like sometimes people would send NDAs over here, and I would just look at it and be like, okay, where do I sign it? Go. And then we had one of our senior engineers. He said, "Did you get that NDA?" I said, "Yeah, I signed it." He's like, "Did you read it?" I was like, "Dude, it's like 12 pages."
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir here. Yeah, we've been there. He's like,
and I can't understand anything it says anyways.
We've had a couple of those conversations. Yeah.
If I read the document, I'm only going to understand every third or fourth word. It's all legalese and ridiculousness. So it's like, man, I don't know what they're trying to say.
On the plus side, you're much more, both of you guys in those descriptions, from your side of the perspective, you're much more trusting and optimistic of people.
Ignorance is bliss. Yeah, that's right.
Unfortunately, my background tends to be a little less so. Yeah. So need each other, I guess.
Well, I think what's hard is to not get overly jaded when you're running your own business. Cameron, I don't know if you've had those situations where you've been burned yet.
Yeah, we've definitely been down that road, and it can be, just like kind of a dark hole of discouragement and despair. Not to sound overly dramatic, but especially before he came on, when you're the only guy in here and you're hustling and you're tired and you've already done the work and the customer's delaying payment, for example. That can be kind of soul crushing, really. Just kind of like, man, is this worth it? You can be questioning those times of, this would be easier to have a job at this point. I've definitely been down that road. Yeah.
I guess, I don't know if it's encouragement or discouragement, but it's things that if you're going to be a business owner, you're going to have to deal with that. And how do you come through it is the difference maker. How do you keep from getting jaded and angry in those situations? I was just talking with my dad. We have a job that we did for a customer, and we had one purchase order from them. I'm not going to name names. We had one purchase order from them that they approved, and then we sent the job back, and it needed additional work. Not because it was being redone, but just because it needed additional work. And so we brought it back in-house, and we had approval from the customer. We had emails and texts from the customer. They came in and saw the things that we were doing, and that was about a year ago. And I'm trying to get payment from them and talking to them, and the response was, well, we didn't give you a purchase order for that second set of work, so you guys started it without our permission. You shouldn't have done that. I was like, dude, you were there. Like, you saw us doing it. Like, we told you everything that we were going to do. Isn't that approval? He's like, you didn't have a purchase order. We don't see it as we asked you to do it. We don't see it that way. And you started it before we said that you could. So what are we supposed to do? Tell you to stop? It's like, we did what we thought we were supposed to do. Like, our goal as a company is to live, to have gratitude in all situations, value relationships, live with integrity, and fight with tenacity, right? We're trying to do the things that we need to do for our customers. And when that's the response, it becomes very difficult not to get jaded and say, you know what? I'm not going to do anything without a purchase order ever again.
Yes.
Well, okay, that's fine. But then the next customer comes in and they go, you know what? We can only give you a purchase order when we know what the final price is. So either you can guess at what you think the price is going to be, or if you want, we can do it at the end. And then you have a decision to make. Like, which way do you go? What do you do? Right?
Yeah. 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 And I was ignorant into those types of things when I first started. I was thinking more of, drumming up work, getting the work done. I didn't think about once the work is already completed, shipped out, you might have a problem actually getting the payment. I mean, that's a tough one. And generally, you don't want to stick with those customers either. But yeah, it's tough too when you're the only guy. You got to be the happy, optimistic salesman, and then the executor too that comes after the payment, and then to turn back around and ask for more sales. I mean, yeah, that's tough. That's tough to do. You got to wear a couple different hats.
One of the things I do like about this line of business is when you have the repeat customers, you probably encounter it as well, Tony, in your area, but you can partner with them in their manufacturing process, and you quickly, one of the things we've talked about is, you want to be able, it should be a mutual win-win relationship where they are benefiting from the services we're providing, and we're benefiting from being able to be paid and partner with them. And so it really should be both sides lifting each other up. And when it's not, then I think you really do have to ask whether you want to continue that relationship, or you need to part ways and it's not a good fit, and do something different. Easy to say, hard to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's the relationship side of things, right? And I feel like whatever business you're in, relationships is the most critical part of that, where you can have those conversations with somebody and say, listen, we're struggling on this job, or we did better on this job. We're not going to charge you as much as we thought it was going to be, or fill in the blank on what that looks like. Being able to have those strong relationships is critical. And I feel that if somebody shows you who they are, you should listen to them, right? Whether that's their quality human being, or they're somebody you don't want to work with anymore. Once somebody tells you, like, this is who I am, listen. I mean, like, you can give them 2 strikes. I don't even know about 3 strikes, but when somebody says, for instance, this guy, like, I don't want to do more work with you. Like, I did what we thought was right so that you can run parts, and you're punishing me for it. Why do I want to help you in the future?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Pretty much burned that bridge. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. You guys want to play 5 questions? 5 questions is always fun. This is like 10 questions because it's 2 of us. All right. Question number 1. If you could make one rule that everyone had to follow, what would that rule be?
I would say think for yourself.
Ooh, I like that.
Well, you did better than I did. The only one that popped into my mind was the golden rule: do unto others as you'd have them do. But that's already a rule.
Yeah, but it's a rule. I mean, you don't have to make up the
You
rule.
went biblical on me too, so then you one upped me there.
I
So.
don't think you have to make up the rule. You just have to make somebody follow it. That's
Yeah, enforce it. Yeah.
Eric, you had to go with something else because if his is like think for yourself and you go same, that's
I had to think. That's
You
right.
had to
I should have
That's
gone
right.
same. Yeah, that would have been great. Yeah,
Yeah.
not that fast. Yeah.
but I think that idea of thinking for yourself is really, really important. And I think it's one of the things that people are trying to get rid of. They're trying to get there. It seems to me that there is a direction of getting away from problem solving and critical thinking and going more into this model of like, just do what you're told and follow what is being said without asking questions. And like you said, Cameron, thinking for yourself. All right, question number 2. What is the one thing that you are superstitious about?
One thing I'm superstitious about.
I've got one if you
Yeah.
want to think.
Yep.
So I like to ride off-road motorcycles. So generally, if I think about getting injured or someone says something about getting injured, but carefully don't wreck or don't fall or anything before I ride. It's always right there. So I try to avoid those conversations before I go.
Then you're more prone to the industry or the injury.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what I would say. Maybe in the industry, probably talking about scrapping apart. If we overly talk about it, tends to get scrapped more. That's probably what I'd say.
We've had those situations where, we'll have this a big customer, maybe you've had it, and it's very similar to what you're saying. Like we go, okay, we've messed up for this customer in the past. We have to get this right. With everything about this has to be perfect. It's got to be done right. Everything has to be good. And inevitably something goes wrong. And you're like, how? We took every precaution. Yeah. How did we do this again?
Yeah. That's right.
It's crazy. Question number 3. This is a fun one. If you swap genders for a day, how would you spend your time?
How would I spend my time? That's a landmine right there. I don't know. I think my wife is watching this one, so man. I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna say I would go get coffee. That's what I would say. Nothing. That's completely neutral. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love the fear when the fear comes in. I think that's great when the fear comes in.
I think she's
that's
watching.
Good.
Yeah,
I asked this question the other day to somebody, and it was a woman, and we both said we would go do sales. So.
That's a much better one.
Good, yeah.
I was going to say something. Maybe I could get someone to buy me a coffee. That's what I should do. I would try to get someone to buy me a coffee.
Yeah, I thought, sales because, I think sometimes women have an advantage when it comes to sales because, let's face it, a lot of manufacturing people are old middle-aged white guys. And so, a woman coming in has an advantage of being a little bit different. And being able to have different conversations. And she said sales for the almost the opposite reason, that she wanted to know that she was being taken seriously for what she knows and who she is, not the fact that she's a woman. So I thought both perspectives were pretty cool.
Yeah, true.
And then maybe somebody would buy you a coffee.
That's right. Get some.
Number 4, if animals could talk, what would be the rudest and why?
I kind of think probably a Wolverine would probably be about the rudest I could think of. They're just they're pretty ferocious. We were just talking about it the other day. They're pretty ferocious little animals. So I saw some video of them taking on. I think it was two lionesses. I think anyway, and the Wolverine walked away. I mean that's pretty impressive. So.
Yeah, I would say a house cat. That would be mine. They'd be sarcastic, I think.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Cat is the number one answer that we've ever had.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Not-
they'd be
not-
very condescending.
Not far behind a cat is a goose.
Okay.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
Yep.
can see that.
I can
Yeah.
see it too.
It's amazing, right? We just put these personalities on these poor stupid animals.
That's
But
right.
you know, like I tend to agree with you when it comes to cats. I don't have any pets. We are not good pet people, but especially cats. Like, you know, they don't even care that you're there. You know, I think they would eat you if you died. And
I've heard that.
they go to the bathroom in your house. I mean, it's
They don't care.
at least the dog has the consideration to go outside. The cat is like, you know, I'm going to go in your house. You can smell it. I don't care about you.
Yep.
All right. Question number 5. How many kindergartner kids could you take on in a fight before you were outnumbered?
That's going to depend on the size of the kindergartner kids, I guess. I'm going to have to go with maybe. I'm going to go with 8.
8.
I think I can do 8.
I would say 2 or 3 because I'd probably be laughing too hard.
Maybe
And then they just keep coming at that point. So I had 2 boys
Oh,
that did that to me.
Yeah, I
too,
might
so-
be overly optimistic in mine.
You know, though, if you grabbed a hold of one of those kids by the feet and you used them as a weapon, you might be
That's
okay. I mean,
start whirling.
you might be okay.
Yeah, you could do,
Or they would think it's fun and they all make you do that over and over and over again.
that's right.
All right. So what else would you guys like to talk about today? Anything catch your fancy there?
You know, I've had on the back of my mind as we're on hour 1 and 17 minutes in, I have not given nearly enough contribution to my wife in all of this either. She's been a huge support. And I would not be doing this if she was not supporting me as much as she has. She's never doubted anything like this. She's pushed me when I have not wanted to keep going. So, yeah, I don't know how some guys do it without, or women do it without a supportive spouse. I mean, that's a huge one, and that's helped tremendously. That one cannot be overstated enough. That one's massive.
And I
Yeah,
would say that about my wife too, in terms of there's not too many that would support their husband leaving their longtime professional career and
yeah.
and doing something different. So,
Well, maybe to go help their son.
yeah.
Yeah, you might have a one up there.
But I 100% agree with you. I tell my wife that all the time, that I how much I appreciate her support. You know, whether it's that when I have to go travel and she takes care of the things, or you know when we had the lean times of work and not
Yeah.
understanding what's going on, and just being there when there's a bad day at work, and being able to come home and have those conversations. My dad and I talk about it all the time. How you know the difference between a success and failure is a good woman, is a good wife, right?
Yeah.
To like help you bandage your wounds and help you stay positive and motivated and encourage you and, you know, come in and help in the business, whatever that looks like. You to have that person be your support, you know, the most important person in your life to be there for your support is invaluable, right? Again, that's biblical, right? God said, we're going to make a helper, not like a lesser than helper, but
Yeah.
somebody to fill in the gaps of, you know, where he's lacking, and somebody that can give support and be that person over and over and over again for whatever it is that's going on.
Yes. Yeah. Huge. Yeah.
So I think that's great. I'm glad that you gave her that shout out. That's
Should have said that much earlier as I'm watching this, but I mean,
this just guarantees that she watches the whole time.
Yeah, I knew the whole time I was going to say it that right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
because at the end, if she goes, "You didn't mention me at all," you can go,
Yeah.
"Excuse me,
That's true.
excuse me."
Yeah, we'll ask her. Yeah, I'll ask her.
It may have been at hour 119, but I sure did.
It
Thank
happened.
you very much.
It happened. Yeah.
Ryan Arsenal, he says, speaking facts right now about women, about our wives. Yes, I agree. Or is there something else that you thought we were telling the truth about?
Yeah.
So I want to, before we go, I want to thank you guys. I think it's awesome what you guys are doing. One of my friends and team members, Steve Hack, sent me a message when he saw that you guys were going to come on. He's like, how do you know these guys? I just reached out to them a little while ago to find out what they do. Sounds like they have a great story. I can't wait to hear, the podcast. So obviously the things that you're doing are starting to get some attention, which means Kelsey's doing a good job, right?
Kelsey's doing a phenomenal job. Yeah, she's been awesome. Yeah.
And I just want to say how much I appreciate what you guys are doing and the fact that you are a father and son team in the not in the reverse, but in the reverse, and that you want to work together and you're making it happen, even as a small company. It's really, really encouraging. And I hope that it speaks to other people about the value of manufacturing and why it matters and who the people are that are actually doing these things, right? It's not the big monster companies that we're talking about.
Yeah.
I think most manufacturing companies are family owned, grassroots, down and dirty, doing what they can for each other in the community, trying to give back and build things that matter.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. Yeah.
Okay, we end every show with a prayer. Do you guys have any prayer requests before we go? And if you're listening and you have any prayer requests, put those in the chat, please.
I would say, at least for me, probably direction with the company. I don't know if job shop route is what we'll always do. We've talked about building our own products and we've had ideas. So I think just direction on, if we want to continue to grow as a job shop or if we want to start launching our own products and then building them in-house. Yeah, that would be mine.
You guys are going to make your own products? That's exciting.
I don't want it. Yeah, for all the thousands of people watching right now, I don't want to leak it, but we've had ideas anyway that nothing concrete, but maybe getting into something. Yeah,
that's awesome.
I think for me, Tony, it's not so much for me personally, but we're heading into Easter weekend, and so obviously been praying for our country as we head into Easter weekend. It's a great time for people to go to church if they haven't been or want to learn more about it, and so just praying for a great Easter weekend for our country, and that people would go and feel welcomed at church this weekend, and hopefully learn more about the Lord.
I love it. Do you guys feel like? Obviously, faith is a big part of who you are as people and your company. Do you feel like it's easy for you guys to share that with the people around you, and whether that's companies or what that looks like?
I would say yes and no. I think it's easy I won't speak for my dad, but I think it's easy to live out a lifestyle that shows Christ. Sometimes, it can be awkward to bring it up in conversation randomly if it doesn't seem to come up. But I think that's pretty much everywhere. I think. Probably depends on the individual, but yeah, that's probably what I would say.
I agree.
Yeah.
I echo that.
Yeah. I think it's really cool. Personally, when we talk about manufacturing and building, to know that Jesus was a carpenter and he made stuff.
That's true.
And we could do that, right? And not only was he a carpenter, he made all the stuff, right? Like all the stuff. One of the conversations I've had with people, and I'll share it with you guys because I think you can appreciate it, is, when you have people that say, there's no God or evolution is there. We came from primordial mud and slime. Thinking about what it takes to actually make a thing. Right. For you guys to be able to manufacture something, it takes a lot of resources. It takes equipment, it takes software, it takes knowledge, it takes time, it takes expertise, it takes people. And that's just one part of a smaller thing that makes a bigger thing that can then make a difference. And when you look at everything that goes into building a machine or cutting a part or whatever that looks like, and you compare that to the complexity of like the human eye, right? Which is this tiny part of our whole overall body. And we think that happened accidentally. How is that possible, right? How is that even a thought that something that is used inside of, like, my example is usually like a bottle cap, right? Like, I know what goes into making a bottle cap, and it's a bottle cap. It gets thrown in the garbage. Or no, it gets thrown in the recycling bin. Let me correct myself. But it's like a nothing thing, right? It's a nothing plastic part, but everything that goes into that. And when you compare that complexity to that of any part of a human body, how can that be an accident? How can you say that that was not created by something intelligent to exist? It's just impossible. It's mind blowing to me.
Totally agree.
Yep.
Phil Miller asked if this is recorded. This is recorded. It will be on the Manufacturing Alliance podcast YouTube channel. You will also be able to rewatch it from the beginning on LinkedIn. But please go check out our YouTube channel. We've got a lot of different interviews there from different people, and this will be another one after that. So I'm going to pray for us so that you guys can actually get to work because, like we learned before, time is money. So I'm going to pray for us, and then we'll go from there. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for Cameron and Eric. Thank you for their passion for what they're doing. Thank you that you put a father and son together to create and make and be an inspiration to others. Thank you for the wives in our life, that they keep us motivated and strong, and they're there to pick us up when we fall down, to be a reminder that we have help when we need it. We just have to ask for it. And so as we go into this Easter weekend, we just pray that you would be glorified in all the days, that we would remember your sacrifice, your pain, your suffering, and that you did that not because you had to, but because you wanted to, because you love us, because you care for us, not because we earn it, but because you are who you are. And so we just, we pray that this time was glorifying to you, and we just pray that you would bless everybody that hears this. We pray for those who are sick or scared or needy or worried about different things, that they would come to know you this weekend for all that you've done for us and all that you do through us. And we love you, and it's in Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate all the things you're doing. I'm going to have to make a trip out to Idaho now just so I can come visit and see what you guys are doing.
Have some potatoes. Yeah.
Look us up.
Yeah, I mean, I like potatoes. Who doesn't like potatoes?
French fries too. I mean, we have all variations of them. Yeah.
French fries are honestly some of my favorite food. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
I
agreed.
mean,
Yeah.
good French fries. I'm not talking about like the frozen French fries. I'm talking like the twice fried French fries.
Fresh-
where, like,
yeah,
it's real
freshly made.
potato. You
Yeah.
can see some skin on it still. Like,
Yeah.
that's legit. That
Yeah,
is like some of the
right.
best food ever.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, guys. Are you guys have any? Are you doing any trade shows? Are you traveling? I should ask this. What's the best way for people to get a hold of you so that they can start sending you some work?
You can find us on LinkedIn under Bald Mountain Manufacturing. You can look up, my wife primarily, she does most of the marketing, Kelsey Bean. You can find us on Instagram too at Bald MTNMFG, just Bald Mountain Manufacturing abbreviated. Those would be the main ways to connect to us online.
All right. So if you guys are looking for prototype parts, you're looking for low volume that everybody else has turned you down with, you have an idea for a product, and you need somebody with the expertise, the knowledge, the passion, and the willingness to help. These guys want to make a difference for you. So Cameron, Eric, thank you guys for being part of the show. I appreciate you, and we will chat soon.
Sounds
Great.
good.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you for having us.
Have a good one.
You too.
All right, everybody. That was Cameron and Eric Bean from Bald Mountain Manufacturing. I just met them today, and I love those guys. I love their story. I love a father and son team, and I love that. Eric came in. He saw his son had some needs with some stuff. He left what he was doing to go and support him, and now they have a 2-person crew that is really, really, really a cooperative group, being able to balance things off of each other. So it's awesome. And it's awesome to be able to learn those things from other people and be able to learn and grow together. So I want to thank everybody for watching today. If you like the show, please like, subscribe, share, tell people to watch the next one. We're going to do this again next week. If you have a story that you would like to share, or somebody that does, please have them reach out to us. Tony at AllianceLaserSales.com. We want to tell your story. We want to keep telling people why manufacturing matters, why American manufacturing matters specifically. We know that we do things differently. We know that it comes to support, service, being able to communicate with people, being able to be hands-on, being able to be right there. And we're not going to steal your stuff. So if you want to keep your stuff, we want to help you grow. Man, thank you for being part of the show. I just want to say that over and over again. It makes me happy to see that our viewers are continuing to grow, which means that manufacturing is being taken more and more seriously by more and more people. We have to keep doing this. We have to keep doing it together. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Take care, and God bless.